about, I don't know if I can word this. When you see emptiness, you have a cessation of doubt, right?
Yeah.
So I understand how you need the virtue to get to this place and have the cessation. But when you're talking about mental afflictions and you have a cessation, does it work in the same way? Does it wipe out all your old causes? Or are you putting in place only, when you're working with a mental affliction, are you putting in place only the things so you're not creating more of it? And then slowly it's getting less and less and less and less and less until it's gone. Does the cessation work that way? You're slowly eliminating, or does it work in the same way as it's done and everything's wiped out?
Okay, there's a certain... Okay, first of all, when you say cessation of doubt, first of all, for everybody in the room, what do you mean by that? Like, which kind of doubt? You say cessation of doubt.
So you know that things are empty, like nothing self-existent. No.
Right, but there's also another kind of doubt.
Okay, doubt on the path.
Right. Yeah. So you lose all doubt in, like, Tibetan or in Buddhism. You know that the path, right? So you have a cessation of doubt, which is a big deal to have a cessation of doubt, right? I mean, you might not even know how doubt lingers. I mean, if you had zero doubt in this path, you'd probably be behaving differently. You would be living your life to the letter, to the teachings, right? So when you see emptiness directly, you have a cessation of doubt. And you also have two cessations, right? You have a cessation of, as Mariska was saying, of believing that things are appearing to you in a self-existent way, that things exist out there on their own. Even though they appear to you in that way, once you have that experience, life reasserts itself, appearances reassert itself, but you don't believe it anymore. You know where things are coming from. So those are two cessations. So you're wondering, as you go on the steps before seeing emptiness, whether you're slowly but surely eradicating the karmas, like the mental affliction karmas, and that when you see emptiness, do they all go at once, type of thing?
No, before you see.
Before you see emptiness. Okay, so here's how to look at it. On the path of preparation, so you're preparing to see, right? You've hit a certain point. You're preparing to see. You understand karma and emptiness so well that you're beginning to plant very, very powerful virtues that are going to propel you into this direct perception. At the same time you're doing that, you're also purifying. You're doing it with the four forces, and you're doing all this purification. And if you guys are doing your 6 times book, you're doing a lot of purification without even knowing you're doing purification. You know, it doesn't. The 4 forces aren't like the end-all be-all of, you know, it's like you're only purifying when you're doing the 4 forces. In a way, the book is the 4 forces. Mm-hmm. But any time that you have some kind of mental affliction about an object, like you get angry for a second at someone says something to you, you know, or cuts you off in traffic, and you go, ah, and you see this person as a jerk. And just in the moment that happens, and then in the period after that you contemplate, well, wait a second, I could only have had this arising of like this bitterness and anger if the only way that could come to me is if I had put the causes into place for that to happen. Obviously, I've treated others badly in the past. It's empty. That situation is void of self-existence. In that is a major purification that you just did there, right? You just purified your mind, big time, of more anger. And so you're doing this. So in a way, it is, in a sense, slowly but surely, you're putting the causes into place to see emptiness, the causes into place to reach nirvana, and you're also removing the potential for more mental affliction by purifying, right? So it happens slowly but surely. And that all puts you in this trajectory to wham, and you run right into the perception of emptiness. And it happens to you. You don't get to sit down and decide. It happens to you. Okay? Once you've put everything into place and you've become a good enough meditator and you put all the karmas in place, you can't stop it from happening. Okay? Now here's the thing. Because seeing emptiness directly is the only actually direct antidote for your basic inherent ignorance that sees the world as coming at you, because it's the only thing that can actually annihilate that, then that moment in time, they say, blows apart eons of bad karma. It just blows it apart and destroys it. And it also plants, they say it plants the same virtue as like 3 countless eons or something of virtue. Like that's how powerful that moment is. But even then, you still have remainder. You come out and you're on the path of habituation. And then, even then, you're still, in a sense, slowly but surely, working on whatever mental afflictions you may have left as you go through habituation. But you've got like the most kick-butt, absolutely amazing weapon. You're like the 6-shooter that's just like killing all your mental afflictions like crazy, just by being alive, just by getting up in the morning, just by walking through every one of your day, because you no longer misperceive your world, and so you can no longer recreate samsara. You are at that point creating nirvana. You can no longer recreate samsara, because samsara is created by ignorance. That's what creates samsara. So if you, right? That's why you have to see emptiness directly if you really want to pull it off. Otherwise, you'll do really good, but you're not going to get the big fish. You're not. So it's like, thank you, Lamas. Does that explain it? Kind of, sort of?
Yeah. It does. But I was also
Something
wondering
lingering.
that when you say you're working on a mental affliction for a long time, and then all of a sudden you don't have that mental affliction
I see
anymore,
what you mean.
is it then in a cessation?
It could very well be.
Like,
yeah.
If it would be a cessation, if you don't have that anymore,
yeah.
Is the cessation because you've slowly been working on it, or has it?
Yeah, no, it is because you've been working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have it, let's just use jealousy. If you have the cessation of jealousy, and yesterday you had a jealous thought, and then today you feel the absence of jealousy. You actually feel the absence of jealousy, and you're in situations where you know damn well that would make me, yesterday would definitely have sent me over the moon with jealousy. And you experience the lack of it. And that continues. And a week goes by and you're like, man, I haven't been jealous for a week. What's going on? I feel it's really strange, in fact. I kind of miss it. My old friend jealousy has left me, right? And it never comes back. Then yes, indeed, you have achieved a cessation of jealousy, and it did happen over time. And it was just like, but the cessation happened at a certain moment. We're not going to go Ariana Gardner, but you did.
Really wanna? I know you do.
But you did, right?
Yeah, because I thought that it might be more of a like I want to do this because I'm thinking like all the lifetimes that you've had this mental affliction, it would be pretty crazy to have it come through that.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't say that. You could say that you would experience an abrupt ending of it. You could say that, but it's very, very, very highly unlikely that you wouldn't be working over it for a long period of time and gone through all kinds of stuff in the process, and to experience a pure cessation.
But what's really cool is, as you know, Mariska, as you're practicing, you do acknowledge the cessation of certain things that you used to have, right? Mm-hmm. And that's actually what's really encouraging about practice. Mm-hmm. And there's 84,000, so hopefully we're getting rid of some of them, as we work along, right? But I actually think that's one of the most encouraging things about practice. That is what gives us virya. That is what gives us joyous effort, which is the fourth perfection. Because it's those moments, I think more than anything, it's those moments of, oh my God, it's gone. Like it's really gone. That, sometimes it's a dramatic realization, sometimes actually it's a slow realization, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, it's gone, and how long has it been gone for? Like, it's been gone for like 2 years, and so like that. But it's really good that you're even asking the question, because it means you're experiencing some of it, and that is the result of practice. Okay, so we were starting on the 5 of the 6, right?
Yes,
okay.
5 of 6.
Okay, and just in case, this isn't enough of a list, next week we'll be going over the 20 secondary kleshas, okay? So there's more that we can talk about. However, these are really cool. So these are all different forms of fundamental wrong views, okay? So the first one, say jikta. Jikta is translated as perishable view. Sometimes it's translated as destruction view, because this is the viewpoint that when you have it, it's a nasty one. It's the one that really, it's not so much that it's the view that destroys your virtue. This is the view that needs to be destroyed. Okay, so the whole terminology of perishable view, it's really identifying what has to happen to this particular klesha. And it's the source. It's specifically, well, it's not just, but it includes, this perishable view includes ideas like me and mine are self-existent. It includes things like, the prideful arrogance that we just talked about. And pride is a really, really interesting thing. Like, we already covered pride before, but this whole view that must perish, it's really good to know what some of these flavors of pride are. So this part is actually, Lama John's going to go over them. This is actually out of a yoga course. It's actually out of a Tibetan Heart Yoga teacher training. It's for Series 7. But they really, in Lady Niguma's practice, THY 6 and 7 is Lady Niguma. Series 6 is all about the subtle body, and Series 7 is all about the mind, the mental afflictions. By the way, if you need some physical asana to kind of kick butt your kleshas, Series 7 rocks, okay? But anyways, there's, it's really powerful. It's quite advanced, but it's really, really powerful. But these, that course gave us a really great commentary on the 6 flavors of pride that we're talking about.
So does Diksha have an English translation?
Perishable view, yeah. But as I said, it's really more describing what has to happen to this view, as opposed to giving you a clear idea of what the view is, right? But we're going to give you some of the examples of...
Yeah, and the reason why, they're saying, like, so the perishable view, right? Me and the things I have are self-existent. And so, and that if we didn't have that view, we wouldn't have pride, right? We wouldn't be prideful. But this is really fun because you're gonna like these. These are ways. These are 6 ways that we can be prideful. So this one is called more pride. Okay, more pride, and this is the kind of pride where we think about how amazingly greater we are than those who are in some way less than us. Right? A kind of pride where we think about how amazingly greater we are than those who are in some way less than us. That's more pride. Next one, pride beyond pride. This is a type of pride where we think that we are greater even than those who are in fact far superior to us. Everyone laughs because we all know what these are, right? We think that we are greater even than those who are in fact far superior. Okay, the next one is called me pride. And this is a feeling of self-importance where the mind focuses upon the 5 parts of ourselves. Now this is referring to the 5 heaps, which means, anyone want to shout out what the 5 heaps are? Form is one of them.
Breath body.
You're thinking of the onion, the Tibetan.
The Sanskrit. Okay. Mental.
So consciousness?
Mental body.
Or okay, go. Go for it.
Okay. Okay. Physical body, thought body, emotional body, bliss body, wisdom body.
That's a beautiful way.
That's a nice way of looking at it.
I know wisdom and then bliss.
In Tibetan Buddhism, the 5 heaps, which you could relate to what you're saying, would be the heap of form, which is like your body, heap of consciousness, which is like your mind, right? The heap of discrimination, which is interesting. They make that a whole heap, a whole part, which is like your ability to decide whether you should do something or not. The heap, what's it called? Form? Yeah. Conscious, I said that. I'm forgetting.
No, but there's
feelings. So that's like the emotional hope. And then all other factors. Everything else. Everything else. So basically, thinking this feeling of self-importance, where the mind focuses upon all those things that are parts of us. You got to unlock your computer again, I guess. That we took on at birth. All those parts of ourselves that we took on at birth, that they are either me or mine. Sound familiar? This is back to that perishable view in a sense, that they're self-existent and they are what I am. They are what I am in a self-existent way, which is a kind of pride to think that these are what I am in a self-existent way. This next one is called super pride, otherwise known as delusions of grandeur. This is a delusion that we have attained both the impure and the pure spiritual qualities that come from engaging in deep meditation, when in fact we have not. This one's called just a bit pride. This is a form of pride where we think we are just a bit less than others who are in fact infinitely superior to us in some way. And the next one is called, the last one is called mistaken pride. This is really funny. Mistaken pride. We think that we have gained some high spiritual quality when in fact we have developed new faults that are in no way spiritual qualities. So I thought that would be fun. Pull that out of the Tibetan Heart Yoga Series 7. And so I'm sure that we've all experienced flavors of all those prides.
So that all falls under perishable?
It actually falls under pride, but it is an element of the view that has to perish. Yeah. The especially that me pride. You know, that's one of the problematic ones. The seeing me and my world as self-existent, right? Okay, the second of these, we're on to the 5 wrong worldviews, right? Is called Tarta. Say Tarta.
Tarta.
And this is translated as extreme view. And what this means is that we are either in the extreme view of believing everything exists exactly the way it appears, or nothing exists at all. Sound familiar? It's basically the premise of Madhyamika, right? Like we want to be in the middle. But the very fact that our minds do tend to hold these polarities, these dichotomies, is one of the most problematic wrong views. Everything just is, and I can't change it. Or everything is an illusion, nothing matters. Both are really, really destructive. Okay? So this is the extreme view, extremely wrong view.
Yeah, and that one view of things don't exist, they say that's like a learned view. It's a learned view, and it's often the product of a bad emptiness teaching. Or an emptiness teaching where the person misunderstands and thinks that because things are empty that nothing matters, or things that don't actually exist, and because it's an illusion, right? Nothing matters, right? Like, it's interesting that
you have to have a little bit of education to have that
actually
wrong
have
view.
That wrong view.
Actually.
Yeah. Where are we? Okay, Lokta. Say Lokta.
Lokta.
And Lokta is wrong views. Wrong views.
Wrong.
Yeah. And this is, to have a wrong view, interestingly enough, this also takes some kind of intelligence in a way. But this is deciding and holding that karma doesn't exist, right? Holding that things like past and future lives don't exist. And just making that decision without investigating it and just deciding that, yeah, karma is just ridiculous. The whole idea is ridiculous. And then holding that view for an extended period of time. And it being important at this point to point out that is not the healthy doubt we talked about earlier, where you say, well, I don't really know if there are past and future lives because I haven't spent enough time on it yet. I haven't had a good enough explanation on it yet, but I'm not just going to decide they don't exist. This is what deciding they just don't exist. That's this wrong view.
What's it called again?
Lokta.
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 Yep, Lokta.
My spell check changed to kilts.
Kilts? Wow.
So, John, are you saying that you can decide that they decided that something doesn't exist even after they looked into it? That's not what you do.
You could say either
Or
or.
is it the finality saying of not having an open mind?
You could say that it's not only not having an open mind, but having a closed mind in the sense of really just deciding that the laws of karma, they don't function, they don't work, and really holding to that. Whether you've heard about it or not, they would still call it a mental affliction of some kind, a wrong view of some kind. And for instance, like many people believe that after they die in this life, that's it. And in order to really buy karma, really, you'd have to believe in something before this, or nothing. It doesn't make any sense. And so it would be like deciding, without investigating it, that there is no such thing as past lives, or future lives for that matter. And holding to that truth as being a definite truth. Did that answer your question?
I'm just trying to understand the difference, but probably
They're subtle. They're very,
Yeah.
very subtle differences, but they are differences. So how that one is different from the previous one? The previous one was
the healthy doubt.
Oh, the healthy doubt versus ignorant doubt? Yeah, the lazy doubt. The lazy doubt was not investigating to it. But then you're not really, basically lazy doubt can lead to this. Absolutely. Because lazy doubt is where you just, you can't be bothered. But then if you say, not only can I not be bothered, it's not true. And you've made a conclusion. So you've actually taken lazy doubt to its ignorant conclusion and you're holding to it. That's this wrong view. Yeah.
And so do you understand then what healthy doubt is then? Like,
Well, yeah, that you've not made a conclusion when you're keeping it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I thought that what you were saying by this one was that you investigated it and decided that you don't believe it.
Yeah,
Which
no.
to me, you should be allowed to believe.
And here's the actual.
No, you should. You should be able to. I mean, you're allowed to make any kind of decision, but they're saying that.
That they have, yeah, it's okay. Make it.
But I also want to make sure that you understand this whole investigation.
Yeah.
There is actually classic. The Buddha taught some classic ways that we should investigate, and he compares it to testing gold. Because I guess in ancient India, gold, well, even now, like gold bars are considered like a premium currency. Like if in doubt with the economy, like invest in gold, right? So in ancient India, gold was kind of like the ultimate marker of value. So they said test ideas, concepts, whatever it is that you're doubting, like gold. So you want to, what did they say? File it, cut it, burn it, and they also used to use a touchstone, which is, isn't it almost like a musical thing, like where you actually have? I never am quite clear on what a touchstone is. It? Yeah. So there's like a test you do to it, right? So really, with the cutting and rubbing and burning, it really is talking about the logical analysis, the comparing it to your own known experience, and also relying on authoritative sources. That's the touchstone part. So there's even in the investigative process, it's not just because it sounds good to us. It's not just because we've looked into it and it seems to be true. Like there are some fairly rigorous testing that we are asked to do. So that really is the antidote for the lazy part of the doubt, right? But it's a really good question. So the next one is say tawa, chok, zen. And tawa means worldviews, chok means best, and zin, which they spell D-Z-I-N, means to believe. So this is the attitude that your wrong views are the best. So it's about really, so not only now have you moved from lazy doubt to making some ignorant conclusions and holding to it, but you're really happy about it. So it's kind of sounding like the chains, right? The chains of pain that Lamaji talks about, when you're planting a karma. So this is when you actually rejoice in your own ignorance. That's all we have to say about that.
I just wonder, are you happy with the answer that we just gave? Or are you still, yeah? I had a sense that you were thinking there was like some sort of totalitarian, you can't think this or can't think that. And
It's okay, because I have missed most of it. All of it before this.
no, it doesn't matter. No, I was just, because if you're not happy with the answer, I don't really want to.
I'm not unhappy. I was making a conclusion or a logical sense from what you're saying. That if you say that there's this and the opposite, then must exist somewhere. But maybe I haven't gotten to that yet. So, or maybe it's not. It's okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
A question. So would Kawa Choksin example be religious fanatics who are just like super into their fanatical beliefs?
Oh, yeah, you mean like the opinion of killing another person with a different religious belief is like the best?
Well, just
Like that?
religious fanatics in general. They're very happy about their,
Uh-huh. That's
or
probably
is
a
that just
pretty good
attachment?
Well, I don't know.
It's
That's
possible.
yeah.
I mean, that's a good example. But again, remember, we can't actually know if they're a religious fanatic or not from our side. Like, we actually can't. I mean, I can't because I can't read their minds yet. So we have to be really, really careful about who we label in that way. But, as we said earlier, if their behavior appears to be harmful or damaging, then we can judge the action. But yeah, I mean, if from their own side they have not investigated, they are fanatical just cuz, and they're all fired up, and they're absolutely convinced of that, and they're not understanding the emptiness of anything, and then that is this view. And ultimately, if you are really entrenched in this mistaken identity, maybe one of the byproducts is that's the type of career you would choose. Maybe. I'm just guessing, because yeah, at the surface level, that would be a logical conclusion. But again, we gotta be really careful about who we label as a religious fanatic. Or, I mean, I could be seen as a religious fanatic because I'm really empathetic about what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So that's all.
Yeah, it's I think mainly supposed to, like, okay, so here, your example, let's say, your example. And then what we're supposed to do is then say, okay, how am I like that in certain ways? Like, in what way in my life is there anything in my life that I hold to that would be similar to that? Maybe I'm not a spiritual fanatic about something, and I think other people are way below me and they should die because I don't believe in my religion. But maybe, is there something in my mind? Is there something belief that I hold to, where I feel superior to others because of my view? That might be a way to and I think that's what the usefulness of these things are, is to not so much try to find out what other people are doing that may or may not be proper or improper, but to use, it's a nice example, to use maybe that example in the world to then turn it in, because, right? That makes sense? Yeah. Okay. The next one is, say, Sultrim, Dang, Tulshuk, Choksin, Gi, Tawa. Are you laughing like that? It's good for a laugh. So Sultrim means Sultrim means morality. And Dang, what does that mean? Dung, what does that mean? And. This means and. And Tulshuk means asceticism. And Chokzin, Gitawa means believe they're the best. Okay? So this is to believe that mistaken spiritual hardships are the best. Mistaken spiritual hardships are the best. So, what's a good spiritual hardship? What's like one of the hardest spiritual hardships, or the most best spiritual hardships in like what we've been learning, Tibetan Buddhism? There's probably, you probably name about 20 of them right off the top of your head. 6 perfections. Think 6 perfections. Right just before that. Patience. Right. They say one of the hardest spiritual hardships is actually not becoming angry when it appears like you have every right to be angry. Right. So like patience, they say. And this is not what they're talking about. This is not what they're talking about. They're talking about.
We just wanted to know if you knew what that was.
I'm sorry, Sarah. This is to believe that things like harming yourself in the name of your spiritual practice is the best, is the good thing to do. Like they have like the people that whip themselves, or I'm sure that there have been people in this room, for instance, who have sat in meditation pose for a long period of time and You know, I'm really meditating hard because I'm really in a lot of pain. Right? No, you're not supposed to be in pain and meditate, because then all you're focusing on is your pain. You're supposed to like change your position until you can sit, right? Or fasting, starving yourself, right? You know, in the name of your spiritual practice, starving yourself, right? Like, so you're supposed to take care of this body, right? This body is your Lamborghini, right? It's your like way to get there, and you know it can move really quick. You don't want to end up in the scrapyard, right? So it's like, what's another example? Well, like also deciding that you're going to do all these so many prostrations that you know
You break your knees.
Yeah, next thing you know you're walking with a cane. But you've done that, right? So
Yeah, don't do that.
and there's lots of examples from Lord Buddha's time when people were doing all kinds of things. I mean, Lama Marut's famous example or favorite example is where they would hold one arm up, you know, for years, and that somehow is a spiritual practice, and things like that. So that is a actual wrong worldview according to Tibetan Buddhism.
And I just want to clarify, when Lamajan was answering the earlier question and gave examples of the two cessations that happen when you have the direct perception of emptiness, I just want to qualify there's actually three cessations in that moment. And the third one, which is often not remembered, is directly related to this quality. You have a cessation in the belief that any severe aesthetic act would get you to your spiritual fulfillment. And they give the example of apparently in ancient India, there was this belief that if you threw yourself off a cliff by reciting the correct magic words and landing exactly on a trident in the ground with your heart and like in a certain place and you impaled yourself, that you would get to heaven, basically, paradise. That's the example we're given. So
No one's ever proved.
No one's ever proven it, but you know they're saying, well, actually, Lord Buddha had tried the aesthetic route, right? He was with the aesthetics, and he was doing the, you know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And realized that wasn't getting him there. It was too extreme. It was really close to, and that's what they say is that, you know, like too much excess or too much aestheticism isn't going to, you really need the balance that you can find in meditation, in that whole contemplating with your own mind, getting to that deeper wisdom, right? So anyways, I just wanted to clarify that because there is that point which is directly related.
Too, actually.
Yeah, it's to the point where actually my Holy Lamas recently asked me, what's the third one? Yeah. Because you know we teach ACI, so we're a little bit more current with the lists. But it's because the other two are so big, right? And I mean, when's the last time you heard of someone jumping off a cliff and landing on a trident? Anyways, so it's it's an easy one to miss. But for those of you who are going to be continuing on to Maroke, you might want to remember that one. Okay, almost there. Really. This whole class, right? This whole class has been about knowing who the enemy is, like really identifying the things that we really need to do battle with in order to be happy, in order to get ourselves that much closer to the direct perception of emptiness, if you haven't already gotten there, or that much closer to full enlightenment. And so, you know, it's interesting, you know, on some levels it might sound like we're giving you too much detail, like we broke down pride into like, I don't know, 8 different versions because there were the 6 and then it showed up in a couple of different places. But I think it's interesting to get the subtleties, to get the little nuances, because a lot of times, you know, as I said at the beginning of class, you know, when's the last time you had a klesha? They happen all the time, right? And they're really getting in our way. So we have to do battle with them. It's not about the person out there. It's not about the traffic. It's not about, but they are delivery systems, and they are delivery systems that can make us stop and just try to hold on to the wisdom that we do have. And even in that trying, you will plant the seeds for more wisdom. So it's a really, really interesting thing. And Master Shantideva, at the end of this section, really, really talks about how, it's not easy. In the moment when you've got a screaming person in your face, it's really, really hard to think, oh, they're empty, I'm empty, this is all, I mean, it's not about saying it doesn't exist, that's one of the cliffs, but it's really, really, really hard in that moment to do battle, but that is when you must try. And he does say, Master Shantideva says great things, like nothing gets harder with practice. Nothing gets harder with practice. He also gives the example of the strength of our will, and he gives the example of if someone was holding you at knife point, at gun point, and in his day sword point, and ordering you to walk across the room with a bowl of, well, they say water here, but hot oil, like filled to the brim, and not spill a drop, or that blade is going to go right through you. You would have the attention to walk across the room, So like that, he talks about how if we put our minds to it, we can. So Geshe-la really ends this class with the most beautiful wrath. Like he really shows that there's different modes of a Lama, and one of them is wrath. Different from anger, okay? But he really, really wants us to get clear on this. So I'm going to let Lama John give it to you.
But first, I'm going to ask you a homework question. Because it's a homework question, which we didn't cover in class yet. I'm going to ask,
give the answer anyway.
So, what do you think? Should we, because we're such empathetic bodhisattvas, should we hold off reaching nirvana so that everyone else gets there? As far as they're very passionately saying no. No, we've got a few no's, no. Why not? Why not?
Can't help people if you don't know the way.
Right. That's good. Yeah. Okay, so I want to say that you gotta identify what it is that is causing all your suffering and all the suffering in the world, and you need to get stoked up about going after your mental afflictions. Like I remember when I received my first tantric empowerment, I had this feeling came over me. I was in the car, and this feeling came over me, and I got really this hot thing in my heart, and it was like, I'm gonna kill my pride. And I don't know if I ever felt that strongly about anything in my life. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to use my 6 Times book, and I'm going to watch my mind, because I had some kind of direct thing when I got my tantric empowerment, that what my pride was doing to me, and how it was affecting the people in my life. And I did that, and one by one, I just decided that I would get very excited about whatever was coming up in my mind that was bothering me. And I noticed that I had a lot of pride, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun, but I knew that it was worth doing, and not only was it worth doing, that it was the only thing worth doing. It was the only thing worth doing. Because then what? What if you decide, think of all the time and all the hardship that we put up with in order to achieve things that are not going to last. We are creatures of desire. And if we don't really understand the big picture, and we don't really buy karma and emptiness, we don't really buy past and future lives, and we have this idea that somehow, like these short-term pleasures that we're seeking are somehow going to work out, then we're in trouble, right? And so it's best to like help each other. Like you become this army in a sense. You become like this army that's going to war against mental affliction. Because if you logic it out, if you really understand, and you logic it out, mental affliction is the cause of every single negative thing in yours or anybody's life. And so you have to just go to war against it because it's the only thing that's going to work. It's the only thing that's going to work. And, you know, what do you want? What do you want? You got to decide that. What do you want? Do you want a university degree? Or do you want permanent happiness? And the thing is, we go to this, we have this idea, we get pulled on this train of thought. And it can happen for a long time where you have this carrot in front of you that, well, as soon as I achieve this or accomplish this, I'm going to have, you know, a week off work, or I'm going to have a year of happiness, or something will work out. Nothing's going to work out except what you put in place to get rid of your mental afflictions. Because your mental afflictions are the only thing that stand in the way between you and Buddhahood. Nothing else. It doesn't matter what job you have. It doesn't matter who your partner is. The only thing between you and what you want is your mental afflictions. That's all. That's all. That's freaking simple. Really. And you know, and we're in this age where we're trying to figure out how to do everything faster, save time, right? Well, guess how much time your mental afflictions waste?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know about you, but back in my Kleshiatic days, when I have spent long sleepless nights on my mental afflictions.
That's one of the side effects too. It keeps you up.
Yeah, I have spent hours and hours stewing over my problems. And if you begin to experience these cessations, like Mariska was pointing to, what happens is you become more creative. You have more time. You want to be like a creative person with more time, then get the stuff out of you that's taking up all your time. It's your mental afflictions that's taking up all your time. So, you know, we say, no, I don't have time to meditate. But I do have 10 hours to go to work. I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to do my asana practice. I don't have time to do my serious. Wait a minute. I don't have 2 minutes. I don't have 2 minutes to stop and do my book because I want to suffer. I don't have 2 minutes to stop what I'm doing, but I do have all this time to make myself breakfast, and I spend lots of time making myself a latte. I got all this time to like make myself dinner. I got lots of time to think about. I go, oh, Craigslist? Yeah, what's on sale at Craigslist? Oh, I have all this time to like, what app of the day? What? But I don't have 2 minutes to go to my book. Like, you gotta go to town on your mental afflictions. The rewards are unbelievable. They're unbelievable. They're indescribable, and they're it's indescribable.
Okay, just want to say one thing about that book, though.
Yeah.
Because Mama John did say something which is really important: help each other, but that does not mean writing someone else's book for them. And what I mean by writing someone else's book for them is being able to point out what they're not doing right about their kleshas.
Right.
But if you're not keeping your own book, don't go there, okay? Or even if you are. So that's something that we have to watch out for too, because even in our Dharma practice, we can bring all of these kleshas, this pride, in the guise of, oh no, but I'm being compassionate and I'm helping. You know, like you have to be very, very careful. about how we make it convenient, okay?
Yeah, and there's this is a homework question. Like there's four things, four ways that you can consider how mental afflictions hurt us, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are nice. Consider how they leave us powerless. How they leave you powerless. Consider how they send us into unthinkable suffering. Consider how the time that they hurt is infinite, and that it's wrong to make friends with your kleshas. And you know, what if you didn't have them?
That's a lovely contemplation.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Just to think, what if?
And I'll say lastly, there really is only one way to really truly annihilate all of your mental afflictions. You have to see ultimate reality there. You have to see emptiness directly. You have to. Otherwise, the world is just too darn convincing. It's just too convincing. You know, people look like they exist the way that they appear, and if you don't manage to log into meditation time and plant the virtue that you need to plant and purify what you need to purify, in order to have that experience and then pop out the other side and be able to walk through the world and know all the time that everything that your experience was put in place by a past result that you did, you can't do it. That you must have that experience. And then, like I said, you purify just by getting up in the morning and walking and going to work, because you've done that. But before you do that, yeah, don't be complacent about them. Don't try to find like other people to talk about, you know, what is it? Bad company loves bad
Misery loves
misery loves company. Yeah, don't like cozy up to them and don't like, oh yeah, just go after them.
Don't coddle
Just
your
go after them,
patients.
and that's all I have to say.
Don't coddle your
Don't coddle your mental
patients.
afflictions. Yeah, you know, yeah, just do what you need to do to get rid of them, and it'll work out. Any questions?
There's one thing that causes me suffering that I'd like to ask your advice, because maybe it can help some other people, is I've identified some wrong thinking, but then I keep doing that wrong thinking, and I get like really frustrated that I can't stop. And,
Yeah.
So, like I've seen the wrong thinking, but I'm just like not stopping. So it's better than being ignorant.
It is, and that brings up a good point. And that when you do make the decision, and I know many of you in this room already have made the decision to go to war against your mental afflictions, they're going to fight back. They will fight back.
They will.
And it may seem like you're getting worse, but it's only that you're noticing. It's only that for the first time you're actually noticing, right? It's like you brought the light of your mind to it. And that is a huge step in actually blowing off the view, is by simply recognizing that it's there. And if you just keep going up and recognizing that, and then trying your best to put an opposite view into place, or whatever that may be, it will eventually wear itself out. It's just having it come up and going and believing it. Because before you saw it, it was just there, invisible to you, right? It's like, I really like this analogy, but like light, right? Light is invisible.
Yeah, I was thinking.
right? Light is invisible. You only know light is there when something is there to obstruct the light. So when you turn on your light and you decide you're going to like brighten up, what do you see? You see all that obstructs it, and there's a lot of darkness there. There's a lot.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
I'm like fighting against the darkness. Turn on the light.
Yeah, and you will see, and then you just step by step, and it will get better. It will get better. It definitely will. But you have to go through that initial stage of. I've been through all kinds of horrible things in that phase of recognizing this thing that would pop up continuously. A repeater, right? Daily repeater. And you're like, wow, I can't stop the thing. But you've gained this power. You've gained this witness element. And then that's the beginning of the end of it. Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else?
I can't remember when you mentioned this, but there was something about like purifying without even knowing it. And
Today.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the 6-time book?
No, the simple
recognizing
recognizing.
6 times, but
Yes. Yeah.
So, but isn't it better to be knowing that you're doing it? Like, does it make a difference whether you know or
No,
you don't
it does. It does make a difference if you do know it, that you're doing it, and it's for a specific purpose, and you recognize why you're doing it. It does. It does make it more powerful.
Everything is more powerful with focused attention.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Lama John was giving you that example in the form that we all know we have to purify stuff, right? So if you're keeping your book, you are automatically purifying, even if you weren't realizing it or intending to. So you are getting the benefit of that. Now, if you do your 6-time book knowing, now you know, is a purification process, right? So even more motivation to do that entry, then you are going to add the fuel of your awareness to it.
Okay. I have one more question.
Yeah.
What was the fourth way that did it? What was it? The four ways that are mental. The last question that you answered.
4 ways.
Oh.
Making
4 ways
friends.
that our mental affections affect us.
Oh, like that it's wrong. That it's wrong to make friends with your mental affliction.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the third one?
But was it
went fast?
It did. Sorry. I usually repeat. I didn't repeat. I'm sorry. It was the third one was the time, the infinite time.
They
that-
hurt, they can hurt you for infinite. And the first one was because they leave you powerless, right?
And it's also like we're talking about mental affliction and actions done born in mental affliction, and all the, you're not going to become an enlightened being by being a jerk. It's just the way it is, and you become more holy. The more that you deal with your mental afflictions, you just become more holy. You just become a kinder person, right? Like all the, Jesus, all the saints, right? Just beautiful, open-hearted lovers, right? So you can think like that. This is who you want to be walking around like. You want to be figuring out some way of like holding others dear to your heart, people that you don't know, like dear to your heart. You walk into a room and you're in love with everyone in the room. That's how you become Jesus. That's how you become a holy being. You don't become a holy being by walking in a room and deciding what you can get from one person and not from another, and deciding that you'll avoid this person over there, and like that's just not how it works. And it's hard. You go through stuff on the way there, sure. And so you use your life. You use your life to show you what you need to work on. You walk into and this is why the 6 times book is crucial, because the 6 times book, you gain the power of mindfulness, where it becomes just second instinct to walk into a room and notice what your mind does. And then you later you're like, man, I walked in I saw this person over there and I immediately had an affliction. Great! Great! Then you go, okay, you sit down. What was the affliction? Well, and then you go over your whole thing. Well, it couldn't have been because of them. Other people seem to be hanging out with them and enjoying the company. And you go through the whole thing and you finally go, oh, it was me. Had to be me. Why? Because da-da-da-da. And you use that, and then that's how you use your mental affliction to reach nirvana, by simply you use your life. Everything that you do, you watch. And your 6 times book gives you that. It gives you that, the ability to do that. And that's how you make it. You make it klesha by klesha.
Could you say that the cause of your suffering is the cause of your enlightenment?
The cause of your suffering, you know, that's a big stretch.
That's a good debate
It's
topic,
a good debate
though. It's a
stretch.
really good debate
You-
topic.
You know, you could say,
The result? Okay, let me think about how I want to say that.
Yeah.
well, then
But that's
okay.
a
So then you're
perfect
saying,
argument to take to the debate ground.
what? Okay, let's consider suffering.
Okay.
Let's consider suffering. Suffering is caused by wisdom.
Takmandru.
Suffering is not caused by wisdom.
Dur.
Suffering is caused by something else.
Dur.
Oh, suffering is caused by ignorance. So ignorance. Oh, so you're saying? Are you telling me that ignorance causes suffering?
Yes.
So are you telling me that? Are you telling me that not knowing the trigonometry causes suffering?
It is if you're doing a math exam.
Oh, so you're saying that? So you're
Ah.
doing a math. So let's just say, let's consider doing a math exam.
Okay.
You don't know what the material is, and so because you don't know the material, it causes you to suffer.
Ignorant probably to not learn.
Oh, so not learning causes suffering.
Takmandru.
Oh, so something else causes something that's not learning,
Dur.
and you can't tell me what that is.
Takmandru.
You can't tell me.
Dur.
Show up.
Ignorant liking and ignorant aversion causes
Ignorant
suffering.
liking, and ignorant aversion
Causes suffering.
Oh,
So,
ignorant liking causes Buddhahood. Because I want to be a Buddha.
Takmandru.
Ignorant liking doesn't cause Buddhahood.
Dur.
Something else causes Buddhahood.
Dur.
Reading books causes Buddhahood.
Takmandru.
Something else besides reading books causes Buddhahood.
Dur.
You can't tell me what causes Buddhahood.
Understanding.
You can't tell me what causing Buddhahood.
Dur.
You can't.
Takmandru.
You can't tell me. Shut up.
What causes
Well, A
Buddhahood?
cause for. Okay, causes, sure.
the direct perception of emptiness?
The direct perception of emptiness causes Buddhahood. So I see emptiness directly, I'm a Buddha.
Takmandru.
Oh, just because I see emptiness directly doesn't mean I'm a Buddha.
Dur.
Oh. So a Buddha hasn't seen emptiness directly.
Takmandru.
A Buddha has seen emptiness directly.
Dur.
So just because a Buddha has seen emptiness directly does not mean that just seeing emptiness directly made him a Buddha.
Dur.
Oh, there's something else that has to happen.
Dur.
You can't tell me what that is. You cannot tell me.
Takmandru.
Shut up.
The removal of all the subtle obstacles to omniscience.
Ah, so the removal of all the... Okay, so now... Okay, so I've seen emptiness directly, and I've removed all my subtle obstacles to omniscience, but I still have afflictions. I still have mental afflictions. So I'm the world's first mentally afflicted Buddha.
Takmandru.
I'm not the world's
so
first...
close. You are so close.
I'm not the world's first mentally afflicted Buddha.
Hang in there, Farah. You're
Okay,
so close.
I know. Okay.
That's cool. Okay, so removing the subtle seeds, removing the subtle obstacles to omniscience is a cause for Buddhahood. Is one of the causes for Buddhahood.
Dur.
Oh. And there's only one cause for Buddhahood. I'm done. There's only one cause. Nothing else to do.
Takmandru.
Well, there is something else to do.
Der.
You can't tell me what that might be. Cannot.
Takmandru. Bodhicitta.
Bodhicitta.
Der.
So in order to become a Buddha, you need bodhicitta.
Der.
Ah. So, I saw emptiness directly.
Aha. Aha. Okay.
It's not gonna
Okay.
Okay, okay, you're not finished your explanation yet.
Okay, I have to think about this.
You can't tell me the 5 paths to Buddhism.
I can't.
You cannot tell me the 5 paths to Buddhism.
The
5 paths.
Takmandru.
You can tell me.
Der. Path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of habituation, no more learning.
Oh, there's this weird thing called habituation you just said. So, you can't tell me what the path of seeing is.
Der.
Shut.
Direct perception of ultimate reality.
You can't tell me what the path of habituation is. What?
Der.
Oh, you can tell me.
Emptying of all the seeds, past causes.
Past causes. So habituation. The cause.
Habituating yourself to what you've seen.
Habituating.
Let me say it more precisely.
Okay. You cannot tell me the definition of nirvana.
Takmandru.
You can tell me.
Der.
Sure.
Cessation of all mental afflictions.
The cessation of all mental afflictions happens before you see emptiness directly.
Takmandru.
Oh, no, it doesn't happen before you see emptiness directly. It happens after you see emptiness directly.
Der.
It happens at the path of no more learning.
Takmandru.
It happens on another path. A different path than path of no more learning.
What's the question again?
The
The cessation of all your mental afflictions
happens on the path of
On the-
seeing.
on the path of seeing, I have no more. After I
Aha, path of habituation. Path of
so
habituation.
this on the path of there's nothing happens in the path of habituation that takes me to nirvana because I don't.
Oh.
I say emptiness. I'm good.
Oh. I can't say it yet though. Okay.
It's
okay.
right there.
Okay.
It's right there.
I gotta just digest this.
You can't tell me the 2 obstacles to omniscience because there's 3 obstacles to omniscience.
This one I don't know. The obstacles
No one in
to
this room can tell me the
omniscience.
2 obstacles to omniscience because there's 3 obstacles to omniscience. And those 3 obstacles are not being happy, obstacles to omniscience, and never having enough Snickers bars. Those are the 3 obstacles to omniscience.
Definitely never having enough
Takmandru.
bars.
Oh, there's the other 3 obstacles to Buddhahood.
Der. Oh.
No one here can tell me
obstacles.
whether there's 3 or 1 or 5 or 2 obstacles to a Buddhahood.
I was about to debate you on that.
There's 1 obstacle to Buddhahood.
By the way, you could have caught him there. He was asking about obstacles to omniscience
Yes.
when you were talking about obstacles to Buddhahood.
Right, and I don't know what the 3 obstacles
That's okay. He's asking about the obstacles to Buddhahood.
are. Oh, which is
You
Well,
name-
so far
you
I've gotten
the
rid of all my.
obstacle to omniscience.
Oh,
You
yeah,
already started with
I've already
that.
got that. I'm good to go
Okay.
on a mission.
Okay.
But I'm really weird about
Oh, but there's
Really
another
weird.
2.
Okay,
There's
that's
another
different.
one.
I know
Which
everything,
is-
but it's really
comes
freaking me
before
out.
it.
The cess.
I'm having a lot of mental affliction about
The
knowing
cessation
everything.
of mental.
Oh,
Oh, the obstacles to mental afflictions, which is the obstacle to nirvana.
oh.
Okay,
So
okay.
are
Okay.
you saying that one of the causes to Buddhahood is getting rid of the causes for mental affliction?
Der.
Oh, so. Oh, okay. So all we need to do is get rid of my mental affliction obstacles and my omniscience obstacles to omniscience, and then I'll be enlightened. That's all I gotta do. It's easy. And suffering causes it.
Aha! Okay, I got it.
Is everyone okay? it's getting quite late. We can finish this debate now.
Okay, so it's not that, because bodhicitta was not a part of what I was asking
What we're
about a
debating.
cause for.
That's right.
Got it. Okay.
Bodhicitta is in
Thank
there,
you.
but not specific to the debate.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
But those are the two things.
So that was debate, people. And it's really
It's fun.
It's fun. It's a great way to
Got it.
learn.
That was good. That was really good. I'm not going to forget that one.
But it hurts my ears though.
Pardon?
It hurts
Hurts
my
his
ears
ears.
though.
Right.
All right,
Right, poor
let's
Amanda.
dedicate, and let's dedicate to Zoe and her mom.
Right. That was very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Buki Jukshin Meitog Tram Rirabling Shi Nyendegen Padi Sange Shindu Nikte Uwa Gilokanandak Shingma Chupasho Idam Guru Ratnamantalakam Yatayami Zikewoku Sunam Yeshe Zozokshi Sunam Yeshe Leijunwe Nambakuni Dopasho.
Nice job, everybody. And I guess, you know what? The only reason why that I can do a little debate like that is because my Lama picked on me. He did. I was always the one.
He was the one.
Lama Roger would always, John.
So what does shock mean?
Show me.